Morning, everybody. My name is Craig Stryker, and I'm the President and CEO of Onaco Solutions. And we're an IT staffing firm, and we've been doing IT staffing for the past 19 years. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about, some tips, some tricks around finding the elusive IT unicorn. Just so I have an understanding of what the room looks like. How many in the room currently are having an issue or have had an issue in past, by a show of hands, finding IT professionals? All right, thanks very much, I'm done. Well, should you ever have this issue, this may come in handy. Since starting our firm in 1999, I've seen a lot of different changes in our industry. As some of you may be aware, we started when Y2K was a big thing, and then we went on to the dot-com bust, to the economic downturn of 2008 and 2009, to now where we are today. We're at the advent of LinkedIn and Indeed and these types of things that are affecting our recruitment process. And one of the things that is constant in our industry is change. I think pretty much everyone in this room probably has one of these. And this technology, if you think about it, is really only 11 years old. That's when the first iPhone came out. So that tells you that things move very quickly in our industry, and the people in our industry are used to doing that sort of thing. So that's something to keep in mind, and I'll touch on shortly. But I guess really it's to understand managing our expectations and understanding what the market is doing in IT. Okay, so to be helpful to know what the IT market actually looks like, what the candidates look like, and how to better help tailor your process to manage that. I have my notes so I don't get lost. So first of all, IT is a leading force in our economy. There's a tremendous amount of pressure for companies to be more efficient, be more effective, be better at what they do, and IT, of course, drives that. The challenge with that is there are multiple companies that are looking for the same talent as you are, and that can create a lot of competition, can create a lot of increase in wages. Many technical skills these days have become, are not commodity-based, but specialty-based. When I started this organization, the biggest asset to have was technical support. That's almost 20 years ago. Now you look at technical support, that is a very common thing. That's really the entry point into our industry. Sites like LinkedIn and Indeed have made it easier for you to connect with talent. The challenge with that is it's the reverse as well. That talent can connect with multiple offers as easily. So it has an adverse effect if you look at that, where demand and costs are going to increase, and therefore in some cases you'll find in certain areas of IT people are not looking for permanent jobs. They actually want only contract jobs because they know that they're in high demand, and it pushes up the market and it pushes up the cost to all kinds of companies. Candidates are having multiple offers, and the other thing is when you have employees, whether you want to believe it or not, they're always being solicited. And this is a challenge because now employers or HR or talent acquisition people have access to them, and they're sending them emails or contacting them through LinkedIn, and they are getting offers or opportunities. And another thing I see when I go visit clients is we'll sit down and we'll talk about what are you looking for, and they'll actually pull out a scroll that hits the floor, and they're giving me this long laundry list of things that they need for this particular job. And that's something that can be very challenging for them. So, how do we win? What do we do when we have these challenges in front of us? How do we develop a strategy that's going to be helpful for us to engage people and to make better hires? Well, first of all, the first thing I always recommend to people that I meet with is, okay, you have your long laundry list. Pick and choose a couple. Pick your top 3. Tell me what it is that you think is most important. What can you absolutely not live without? And let's start from there. Let's understand what that looks like. The other skills, and part of being successful in IT in our space, is understanding that most IT professionals do not start in their area of choice. Nobody's going to hand over the keys to their network security to somebody just coming out of school. An area that they can totally shut down the company. It's not generally where you start. So most IT professionals will have to intern, they'll have to apprentice, they'll have to learn their trade. And the good news is, if you know that, it's good IT people, it's in their innate DNA to learn. They'll want to learn. So you can train people to get where you want them to be. The other challenge we face in our industry, as I mentioned before, specialty skills. And our industry has become very focused on certain things like cloud technology, DevOps, development, mobile development, IT security. And the challenge is, of course, many companies are looking for these same things. And the other pressure is companies are always being pressured to reduce costs. So maybe they've gone to, a CRM system that's a little cheaper, it's not as common, but then the challenge is, of course, finding people to support that later on. So how do we overcome that? Well, the bottom line is, if you went through that process to entertain potential systems, which maybe the one that you chose is based in Australia, and when you talk about it here and you look for talent here, there's no talent, it doesn't exist. So you look at other alternative systems that will offer the same type of service or system that you are using. Bottom line is, they're all pretty much based on a similar type of platform or technology. It's just a question of understanding what that looks like and then going with the more common ones to be able to help you. The other thing to do is to recognize that this process is very competitive. You have a very narrow window of opportunity to engage and retain talent. First of all, anyone who goes through an interview process, it's very important that you're respectful of them, their time, because the reality is these days the candidates are the one who control the market. It's not the employers. Unless your name is Apple, unless you work for Apple or Google or Amazon, those are really the only companies that really have a real pull for IT people. Other than that, it's not really about name anymore. It's about how you feel about your job, what interests you, whether you get along with your peers. Those things are important. So it's important to be respectful of that process. When you interview someone, if you like them, and even if you don't, it's important to give them the feedback within 24 hours. And I'm not saying to make snap decisions in terms of when you hire people, just hire them right on the spot. I am saying, though, it's kind of like, and some of us have alluded to it over here, that it's kind of like dating. It is, you want to give out a feeling. If you're interested, you want to let them know that you're interested. And feel back what they have to give to you. If they're interested, they'll let you know too. And that's how a good, healthy recruitment process goes. What a lot of people forget, a lot of managers forget, is when you're doing your recruitment process, you have a resource, a wealth of information in front of you. The candidates that you're interviewing actually can tell you what the market is doing. If you ask them engaging questions, you say, well, how many interviews have you been on? Where are you at in your search? What are you seeing in the market? How are you finding it? Someone says, I've been on 5 interviews this week, that tells you something. If someone tells you that, I like your job, I like your company, but I went on 2 other interviews and they're offering $10,000 more for the same job, that tells you something else. And that will help you to sort of manage where you're at. Maybe I need to tailor my salary. Maybe I need to reduce my expectation in terms of, what I'm expecting and how senior a person I'm looking for. One of the first things we look at when we hire somebody is not their technical skills. It's actually, where do they live? Where's the job located? I mean, who here likes traffic? Who here likes commuting an hour and a half or an hour to work? One of the biggest and easiest ways to bulletproof hiring somebody is to hire them close to home. Because even if they're getting solicited, that's such a benefit to them. If they value work-life balance, that is something that is essentially bulletproofing them to your company. And in addition, it can help to reduce costs because they may be willing to trade a lower salary for the fact that they only have a 20-minute commute. We've seen a tremendous amount of success in our hirings with new to Canadian immigrants, and they offer a wealth of talent, a wealth of information. The sacrifice, obviously, of course, is maybe investing a little more training in terms of bringing them up to speed on Canadian corporate culture. But in these hard-to-find roles, in that case, it can be very well worth the effort. Because generally you'll find that you'll have very, very loyal employees who want to learn, who want to be engaged, who want to get their first Canadian experience. And the trade-off is you have great talent for potentially even less money. Something that a lot of people don't realize is how actually small IT is. You know, we're all kind of geeky, we're all kind of connected to each other, whether it be through chat rooms, whether it be on the internet, whatever. We all are some way connected to each other. And when we started our company, we looked to give everybody what's called the Disneyland experience. Does anyone know what that is? So essentially, when Disneyland was started, their motto was, everyone leaves with a smile. Everybody leaves feeling that they were treated the best way that they could and they had the best time possible. If you do that with your candidates, even if you don't hire them, the reality is they have friends, they have colleagues. If they go out into the market and they say, hey, I had a great experience at XYZ company, you have a better opportunity of securing those people. And one last word on terms of agencies, which I am. If you are a company and you do use agencies, it's kind of changed the market a little bit. It used to be the school of thought was more is better, and these days it's actually less is more. The reality is, I always suggest to companies, whether it's me or another organization, partner with an organization that you trust and love. What happens behind the scenes with agencies or companies that work with multiple agencies, it can be a little scary. In reality, it's based on speed, not necessarily care. So companies will go to market, a talent agency will pick up the phone if they have a requisition, they know they're up against 4, 5 other agencies, they're going to get their telemarketing team on the phone, and essentially the call will look something like this, and this is to a candidate. Hey Bill, you got a heartbeat? Are you alive? Okay, good, we're submitting you to this role, thanks very much, bye. That's essentially the care that will go into that kind of a recruitment. So if you're committed to an organization, they're more likely to be committed to you. And thank you very much for your time.